Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Reviewing Comics with me, your host, Alexander Turbin. Today we're going to be going over Michael Turners Fathom, #1. But before we get into that, I'd like to show you some of my own work. This is Death Knight's #1, and I recently released it. It's a reprint of Random Access #6 and #9. But there's more. When you order one, you could get one of these. You could either order this from alexanderturbin.com, or you can order this and this for $5 at, again, alexanderturbin.com. Or you could order this and this figurine, this sculpture that I created of the Death Knight. You could get the sculpture unpainted with the lance and the comic book for $35, or you can get it, excuse me, painted for $50. So now that I'm done shamelessly plugging, let's get into Fathom #1 from 1998. So I don't really have a lot of history with Fathom. I didn't get this when it first came out. And actually, was there a Fathom #0 or Free Comic Day, Book Day Fathom or something like that? I think I might have got that. But I never got this when it first came out, and I really kind of wish that I had now, because I really did enjoy it. Like I said, it came out in 1998, and it's written by Michael Turner and Bill O'Neill. Well, it says story by Michael Turner and Bill O'Neill. Excuse me. I don't know who does the what. Did Michael Turner do the script or rather the plot, and then Bill O'Neill did the script? I really kind of wish I knew exactly what was up, because this is written way better than I thought it was going to be. I went into this thinking that it was going to be your typical Image comic where the art is pretty and the story is lacking. But I really, really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the story. Michael Turner, of course, is a great artist, was a great artist. We lost him, I believe, to cancer a few years ago. I did get Superman, Batman that he did with the Apocalypse and the Supergirl, and those were fantastic. And that I mainly got those because of his artwork, because I really thought it was fantastic at the time. I think he's a great artist. I love his. I don't know if it says Michael Turner pencils, inks Joe Weems V on pages 10, 11, and 19. Jonathan D. Smith colors. So I guess Joe Weems does the inks on 10, 11, and 19, but Michael Turner does the rest of the inks everywhere else. Let's jump to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is where I think this is where he starts. Joe Weems starts doing the inks, and it really doesn't look a lot different than Michael Turner's inks. I think he does the. I think Michael Turner does the inks on all of the other pages. So anyway, Joe Meems, Jonathan Smith, Dennis Heisler. There's a whole slew of people that created this comic, and it's really pretty good. So we'll go along. I'm not going to, like I said, like I usually do, I'm not going to delve into the story and then backtrack about the story and the art, because this is a big production. This is Image Comics, probably at its highest. This didn't come out when the first Image Comics came out. This was a few years after. So they had their whole their studios all set, and they had all of the professional people all set, and the digital colors are really good here. They've learned their craft. They've learned from their mistakes, and they've learned from their successes. So they really, this is a nice, pretty comic book that really it's professional. It's professional. It is beyond Marvel and DC. I think at this point they've surpassed Marvel and DC as quality. I'm not even talking about the art. I'm just talking about the whole presenting package, and all of the types of things that they're doing with the digital art and the inking and all of that stuff. But yeah, anybody know the division of the story for Michael Turner and Bill O'Neill? Please let me know, because I'd really like to know who I am thankful for this great script, because the scripting and the dialogue and stuff is really fantastic, and the whole thing, even the plot's pretty good, but it's really the scripting that if the scripting had been not that great, it could have completely gone off the rails, and it would have been not as enjoyable to read. But it's really been an enjoyable read. I just read it half an hour or so ago, and like I said, I really enjoyed it. So I guess what happened, it says San Diego, July 16th, 1984. And it's these people that are on this cruise ship. And I guess that it's been missing for 10 years, and nobody knows where it's been or what. These people are kind of talking about what the big hubbub is. They don't know what's going on. So apparently for them, it's only been, their regular voyage, but for the rest of the world, it's been 10 years. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. The narrator here I'm assuming, is Fathom here. And she is adopted by the captain, Captain Matthews, when she's a little girl. Don't know what happened to her parents or anything. I assume that they get into that later on, but you don't really need to know. She's an orphan, and she's adopted by the captain, and he raises her as his own. So they get to the docks, and the military is there, and everyone's all freaked out because this ship has been missing for 10 years. So everyone is freaked out, and they've turned off all of the cameras. They're stopping all of the media and everything. And the military just has this place locked down. And the dialogue is really great, because this so much reads like an action adventure underwater movie. It reads really like a James Cameron movie would be in a comic book. It's so I really think that all of the detail that they have in the script, with the dialogue between the military people and the Navy people and all that stuff, it sounds very authentic. So whoever did write this, they really did their homework, or they watched lots of different action movies, so yeah, so they know exactly what they're doing. So I'm assuming that they did actually watch a ton of James Cameron movies, whether it was what's that underwater one specifically? But even then, Top Gun, it reads like it's a Top Gun movie, or any kind of like I said, James Cameron, Avatar, anything like that. It only not in a bad way. Like his movies are fantastic because of their authenticity and they're just a level of dialogue and the interaction between the characters, that they are also they're believable and interesting at the same time. Some of them, yes, are maybe a little bit too over the top and a little bit too Top Gunny. Like maybe they took a few of the quips and stuff like that almost directly from that movie or any other action movie at the time, Iron Eagle, all that stuff. But I don't care. It's really fantastic stuff. So the military has it locked down, and then it switches to 3 months ago. The USS George Washington is 95 miles north of Honolulu, Hawaii. So it just switches gears and switches to another part of the story, and this is the Top Gun part, really, where the jet fighters, and it's got they have call signs on their Blackbeard, and they've got all these like different dialogue things that they're using, but also the artwork. Like, yes, Michael Turner, he's known for drawing beautiful women. He's known for that. He has a little bit of problem with the regular people, but like, who doesn't? Like action scenes and superhero action scenes, they're easy to draw. You can do that pretty much no problem. Beautiful women, once you get it, you got it. You just keep kind of doing the same thing over and over again. But that's not in any way a bad thing. It's more like hitting your bar or hitting your standard, and then you don't go below that bar. But when he's doing his regular people, just looking around, or like this captain guy, he looks like he wants to draw him in a superhero pose. He looks like he wants to create something magnificent out of these couple ordinary people, and they're just that. They're just ordinary people, and they're just living about their daily lives. I was talking to some of my dudes that are doing a comic book with me, and Will Eisner came up, and because we were talking about who our favorite artists are and stuff, and one of the creators was talking about Will Eisner, and Eisner was so fantastic at just drawing regular people. Yes, maybe their noses were too big, or they may be a little bit too frumpy or stuff, but he kind of exaggerated what they have already, but in a believable manner. Like everybody doesn't look like a supermodel. Most people don't. Most people are frumpy. Most people, they're a little overweight. They're a little underweight. They're a little skinny. They're a little too tall. They're a little too short. So Will Eisner had all of that stuff. But Michael Turner, at this point, I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff, the Superman, Batman stuff, more in particular, if he changed his style. But that was all superhero stuff. But he just doesn't quite hit the mark on the regular folks. I'm sure that's one of the things that he really tried to work on. All of these military guys hits them perfectly. Does some great emotions, great close-ups on their eyes, and lots of nice little detail. He's got this little scritchy detail, and it almost looks like it could be too much shading, but these are old guys. They're older guys, so it's okay because he's aging them a little bit with all of the magnificent detail and the shading and all of that stuff. But also, I don't know what he used for inking. I assume it's a combination of brush and nib, but I kind of think it's mostly nib. Anybody seen any videos or anything of Michael Turner doing his inking, let me know, and I would love to see that, because just his way of using his pen or his brush, everybody has a different way of doing it. The feathering, it's mostly the feathering that you do, and then you start out doing it that way, and then you kind of evolve your technique around the objects that you're doing, and the way you're adding the cross hatching or hatching or whatever. Like here's some great cross hatching right under his eye, and you've got some hatching here, and it does age him a little bit, but that's perfectly okay because he is an older general in the military, so it's perfectly cool. And another one of the great things about Michael Turner is his vehicles. His vehicles are fantastic. I'm betting that Jim Lee maybe took him under his wing and was like, "This is how you do vehicles," because all of their vehicles, the vehicles of Jim Lee and Michael Turner, all look quite a bit alike. But also, the perspective that you have of the vehicles, especially the aircraft and the stuff like that, straight out of a movie, straight out of a James Cameron or Top Gun movie, where you have it straight on, and then you have the inside of the cockpit, and then you have a far away shot, and then you have an action shot of what they're discussing, which is some characters underneath the water. They say they're ships or some sort of vehicles, but they don't really know what it is, and they're chasing them. They're going at like speeds faster than the aircraft is, and he's just like, back away, and we gotta figure out what this is and who this is and whatnot. Then it switches to present day San Diego, California. I assume, actually, I know, because this is the little girl that was adopted by Captain Matthews, who is Fathom, I assume. I can only assume. She's in the water. She's talking about how she loves the water, and she got a PhD. So she's actually a marine biologist. And but the dialogue and the text is really interesting to read and enjoyable to read. She's got such a nice voice. I always talk about characters having a voice, and she's got such this voice. It's not sarcastic or anything or too playful. It's it's a combination of a little bit of playfulness and a little bit of sternness. She's a PhD, so she's got this strict, I don't know what you would call it, code of conduct or whatever. So it's really interesting. Plus, also you get the long legs and the long body that Michael Turner is completely known for, and all of his great line work, his brush work, and or pen work. It's so hard. It's hard to say what how he did that, whether it's pen or brush. But either way, it's beautiful. And even if it's the other guy, that this Joe Weems, even if it's the other guy, they're very, very in sync. Maybe Michael Turner went over some of the stuff that he didn't do, or maybe the other guy just did the backgrounds. I don't know, but it's blended together seamlessly. So she's swimming, and then she stops, and this other woman, they're just having this little dialogue between them. She's having some sort of special thing happening, and what's her name again? Her name is Aspen. Her name is Aspen. So is that Fathom? I don't know yet. So she gets out of the water. They're still talking about what's going to happen, and it's her going some sort of diving instructor. Or no, this is when she was 16. She had some sort of vision or something when she was taking diving lessons, and she went underwater and she saw these weird people or whatever, and then she fainted or something, and then she was revived when she went up into the they found her or whatever. One of the things that I don't like about the book, though, is these things. Yes, they're nice, but they're really not needed. Like, why? Or maybe one or two. We'll count them as they go along. But like, why? And especially like this double page spread. Okay, it's showing off Michael Turner, showing off Fathom and the woman, and she's sexy and all that stuff. So I understand that. This is a powerful image of get me the Secretary of Defense. That's great. And this, she's having a flashback to when she was. But this next page, this next close up, why is she? Okay, she's having a flashback. So maybe this is okay. Does he do this every time she's having a flashback? We will see. So this has happened twice, and we will see if that's a just a technique that Michael Turner does. If that is in fact the case, then I think it's great. And I take back the fact that I don't think it's necessary. So we will see, though, that it's happened twice. Flashbacks. She has the big thing, instead of having some kind of wonky dreamlike sequence or something like that. You can really tell, though, because she goes into this inner monologue thing where she's talking to herself, and so you kind of knew it was a flashback. And also the colors. The colors are really fantastic because it's so much darker, especially the water. The water colors are really fantastic. I really love the colors in this book. Yes, it does still have a really huge digital feel. All of the colors in the faces and stuff are blended in a certain digitally kind of way. But I like it, and I enjoyed it. So present day, again, she was invited to some sort of research thing or something, and she gets there. She's met with her ex-boyfriend, and she doesn't really know a lot of what's going on. It's a lot like that the Deep Sea James Cameron movie. Why can I not remember it? Anyway, so they end up going. They're in a sub, and they're on a ship. Then they go in a sub, and they're going down to the underwater sea base. They have a lot of the same thing that James Cameron did with the pressure sickness. I can't remember. It's called something else anyway. but they go through that whole spiel of if you're feeling sick, to get to the infirmary. If you feel like your organs or something, then get to the infirmary or tell me or something like that. He's very strict about that. This is their not their boss, but this is just kind of the guy that is bringing them to the boss. These two, he's a programmer, and we know that Aspen is a marine biologist. She must have been a biologist for quite a while, because she's being called in on this heavy duty research thing. So they make it down to the bottom of the ocean, where there's this huge research complex, this huge underwater research complex, and they just, again, they have all of this dialogue, all of this story and banter about what to expect and who's who, and especially her ex-boyfriend, who's kind of still has the hots for her. Obviously, I mean, she's hot, but he's like this. He's got quips, he's got wisecracks, and he keeps giving them to the boss, because earlier on, this guy says those wisecracks are fine now, but once you meet the boss, I would lay off on those, because he's going to not really be impressed by that, so you should just chill it. But he doesn't, so the boss gives him hell a little bit. And then they finally make it to where they're going, and Aspen and her ex-boyfriend see this weird underwater ship. And it's pretty cool looking. It's really, I mean, they know it's some kind of alien technology off the bat, because it doesn't look like anything that's made by man. And they go through this whole thing about the Japanese, something happened with the Japanese, where they tried to keep things under wrap from the Japanese. So they don't really trust them, or the rest of the world doesn't trust them. So they're having like this joint cooperation thing going on with them. And this is like the liaison. And I assume or suspect that this is going to be the love interest for Aspen, even though the boyfriend, maybe they're going to have like a love triangle or something like that. But yeah, so we don't really have any kind of introduction for him, other than that's who he is. He's the liaison for the Japanese, and that's all there is to it. But she's already taken by him, as you can see. Then it switches to, again, the USS George Washington 24 hours later. So they've been on the I don't know what you call it, the underwater station for a little while, and this is happening. And I love the colors. I love this whole dusk or dawn kind of thing. And these airships, I think they're supposed to be airships / underwater ships, so that's why they look a little futuristic and a little weird. But they look very cool. Again, kind of Jim Lee-ish. I think the whole Image crew, they might have this technological way of doing things. I bet they're like, they know each other, so they bring stuff over to each other and like, hey, how's this design look? How's that design look? And they all just fiddle around with different designs for spaceships and aircraft and stuff like that. Again, lots of little minute details, the thrusters, the guy with the guiding the ship off of his deck and stuff like that, and the nice panel layouts where it shows stuff. One of my problems, though, with this book is a few times they had I don't know if we got through that part yet, but a few times they put the word balloons in funky places, so you don't really know what to read and when to read it. Like, you read this from here all the way down, and then you go from right to left. So you are automatically confused a little bit, because do you go here and then read it like this, or you go here and then read it like that? So there are actually 3 or 4 spots like that where I didn't really know where to go when in the reading order, and I just kind of intuitively did it, and I think I got it right. But it's really, it disrupts the reading flow when you have to do that. When you have to make a conscious decision of where to read and what to look at, then you're losing the flow of your eye, you're losing the flow of your mind and your brain. So I mean, everybody does that. Sometimes they make mistakes, but I think that's probably the biggest glaring thing in this whole issue is that the letterer. I don't know if that's the letterer's fault or if it's just the composition and layout of the panels by Michael Turner. But it's just a little bit of a faux pas, and I kind of wish that they had done that a little bit better. But like I said, one of the airships dives under the water, and one's flying above, and they come across the same lights in the ocean, and it comes up and blasts one of them out of the sky, that's really cool. I especially love the colors, like the line work and all that stuff is really fantastic. But without the colors, I think it would be a little bit weaker. But the guys underwater, they know what's going on, and the general whatever tells them to back away and to get out of there, and he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. You cut to Aspen, and she's investigating the alien underwater spaceship or whatever, and she's just having these little thoughts to herself. Again, she's kind of having this little inner monologue, and then she gets back out of her spacesuit or her underwater suit, and she's washing up or whatever, and the doctor comes in to show her something new, and it's an alien underwater alien double page spread of one of the characters that she had as a visage or an image in her mind when she was younger, and she was having her diving instructing kind of thing, and she realizes it's the same person, and she thinks he's dead. The doctor goes on a little rant or a little story about how they boarded the ship, and there was a little bit of an altercation, and 5 of their people died, not the bad guy, not the underwater people, but the military people died. So this is the ship that shot then it cuts to this. This is the underwater ship that shot the aircraft out of the sky, and it's still being chased by the underwater craft. And the general's like, back off, get out of there, stop doing this. But he's killed his friend because they had this cool little dialogue between them that was kind of interesting, where you knew that they were friends because they were kind of giving a ribbing to each other and stuff like that, which was really good. Is you need those little details. Like you could have just had them walking along silently, and it does feel a little bit forced, but not really all that much. It's just showing a little bit of camaraderie between them. So he's pissed off at this ship for killing his friend, and he launches a torpedo at the ship there. But it goes through them because they're obviously made of water or some kind of weird mystical stuff. And he's like, oh my God, I shot a torpedo, and it's headed towards the underwater complex that has Aspen and the other underwater people. The guy wakes up, or he wasn't dead. He wakes up, looks at Aspen, and the doctor is like, it's a torpedo coming. And so Aspen, the very last panel page is like, attention, all areas, we have a torpedo inbound. Stop whatever you're doing and beginning immediate emergency evac procedures to repeat. But I just got here. That's her talking. So that's how it ends. The torpedo's headed for the underwater complex, and then they have a bunch of image promos and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. I like this one. TV rots your brain, read comics. I agree. Even though I love TV, and there's a lot of really fantastic shows. But in 1998, what really was there to watch, friends? So I really did enjoy this. I really liked it. Anybody with an eyeballs can see Michael Turner is a fantastic artist. His legs long. Who cares? They're beautiful. Eyes beautiful. All of his women are just completely beautiful. The only problem I would say that I have with his art is that he doesn't have a whole lot of interaction between his characters. They're pretty stationary. They're pretty stagnant. Like here's one page of them excuse me, shaking hands, and it's really, it's a little on the weak side. So there's really not a lot of interaction between his characters. There's no like touching on the shoulder or like I said before, shaking hands or stuff like that. But that's probably just from the script, and he didn't really need it. But when it is there, it's a little on the weak side. But I'm being a little nitpicky because he's Michael Turner and he was awesome. It's really too bad that he was taken from us as soon as he was, because I think he had a lot more art left in his bones, and I'm sure that he wishes that he could have created more art, because that is going to be my one wish on my deathbed, is that I wish I could have created more art. It doesn't matter how much I do, how many comics I make, how many characters I create, how much money I make, or anything like that. I just always want to make more. And I think if you're a comic book creator and it's in your soul, that's your life's passion, that's your life's ambition, to make more comics. And even if you're on your deathbed and you've made George Perez, I bet he wishes he could have made more comics when he was on his deathbed. So anyway, I really enjoyed this. I really liked it. I was hugely, immensely surprised at how much I enjoyed it, how much I liked it. And yes, I will be looking for more Fathoms. I'm probably not going to look past the dollar bins, but if I see them cheaply enough, if I see one, number 2 for $1.50 or $2 in the comic store, I'll probably get them. Cover's great. Cover's really good. It's not fantastic, but it shows some cool stuff, and I really like this background stuff. And Joe Meeks does the inking for everything. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look this up, and if let me know if anybody knows anything about the process that they had in the division of labor between Michael Turner and Joe Meeks, and it says also J.D. Smith, so there's a third person there. Maybe that's the colors. But anyway, Fathom, number 1. Am I going to rate this? Yeah, I am going to rank it. I'm going to give this a 8.5. I'm going to give it an 8.5. I really could give it a 9. I'm going to give it a 9. I'm going to give it a 9. This is not my kind of thing. This is not something that I would go searching for. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to, and I will be looking for more stuff. So there's really very little to complain about it. Even though it's like there's a lot of fingers in the pot, a lot of chefs in the kitchen, rather, and I really did enjoy it. So got a lot of great stuff that I really liked. If you guys like this kind of content, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell and all that cool stuff. And I usually do deep dives into 80s, 90s, indie comics, black and white, stuff like that. But I also like to just do different stuff and, anything that catches my fancy, whether it's Marvel, DC, Image, or whatever. But I am primarily into the indie stuff because I am an indie artist. So thanks for watching. And I will see you guys next week, and have a great weekend. And I will talk to you later. And thanks for watching, and keep on creating.